I don't think you're going to get it. So the fun on this week's episode is going to be in discussing the topics and reliving great memories and having a good time. But I wouldn't put too much effort in trying to get the connection because I don't know that you will. I mean, you could. It's possible. Anything's possible, but I don't think so. But it's possible. This also could be kind of a shell type connection, which means it may be a cheat.
I'm not going to live down last week. I'm not going to live down last week. I know. All people are going to come in and be like, oh.
That was 2 weeks ago, right?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, because we couldn't make it last week. I had something. Oh, my daughter's birthday was last week.
And this Friday, you're going to be in Orlando.
Next Friday, I will be in Orlando. Is that the 7th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Am I in the right place? I'm trying to get to the live stream chat. I'm in the wrong place, I think.
Tampa, next Friday.
Oh, I think I'm in the wrong place as well.
Yep, there we go. And I'm in the right place. Hey, Wirehead, good to see you. Hey, Kevin, what's going on? ELGSES. Did you guys see that? The mayor, I think it was, of Philadelphia, chanting Eagles and spelling it out wrong.
Yeah.
ELGSES.
Why can't I see the chat? That's weird. Who is that? That's got to be Shell.
That's me.
That's not me.
Turning it down.
That's what you just reminded me to do the same.
So I see we've got Kevin, we've got Wirehead in. Looks like chat's slow to fill up today. We may be paying the price for not showing up last week. I don't know. Chris is really faint. Chris, can you give us a testing 1, 2, 3?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
How's that sound, y'all?
Maybe John and I are just loud.
Probably.
Yeah, it was telemarketers. You're exactly right, Kevin. Although what it said, Genesee Point Apartments Leasing Office, which I don't think they were really trying to get to me because that's in Rochester, New York. But, you know, we grew up being the kids that spam called everybody, and now we're paying the price. Hey, Jennifer, Long Island, New Yorker, good to see you.
Let's try this. How does that sound?
Oh, much better.
Yes.
Okay.
Much.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that's a world of difference. Hey, Joseph.
All right. Let me know how that sounds.
Wig Workshop. That should have fixed it. Let us know.
Yeah. Something was wrong with my audio was like down. I don't know what happened. I had a gremlin.
So be it. All right. Well, listen, we're going to get started because we got a full episode. I am this week's host. So I want to welcome you guys all to the 3-View Mirror, your weekly opportunity to look back on the 3 greatest decades of all time. Well, at least according to the 2 of 3 of us, where we discuss 3 different seemingly random topics. Could be from the 70s, could be from the 80s, could be from the 90s, could be one topic from all 3. And the message involved in our television show here, our podcast, our streaming event, is that there's a secret message hidden between those 3 topics. Something connects those seemingly random topics together. And we do it here every week, Friday, right at 5:30, with a virtually live studio audience. People sitting in chat adding their 2 cents. And at the end of the hour, we see if anybody, whether it's the 2 in-studio hosts or our virtually live studio hosts, can figure out what that secret connection is. My name is John Katrides, better known as Gen X Jono throughout my social media empire. And I'm joined by 2 of my best friends. Shell, say hi.
I am Rochelle O'Black, better known as Gen X Shell, and I wouldn't call my social media an empire, but it is a growing city. A growing city.
A growing city. More like the Death Star, maybe, John. I'm Chris Clues, better known as Chris Clues, speaker and author. Coming to a city near you, I hope, for a speaking engagement. I'll be in Tampa next week to speak, and I talk about the lessons for life and work that we can learn from 80s pop culture.
This is the 3-View Mirror.
Hopefully.
Come on. I'm trying.
Woohoo!
Oh. There you go. All right, y'all. As I said today, I am the hostess with the leastest, and I will tell you our three topics. Topic number one is the NFL. Topic number two is Pauly Shore. And topic number three are birthday parties.
The Weasel.
Oh.
Yeah. I love Pauly Shore.
Do you? Yeah. Why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
Well, let's go. I figure we can start with the NFL. It seemed fairly appropriate. My team is out. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not going to talk about the game. But I think whether you were a football aficionado or not, it was hard to grow up in the 70s and 80s and not get into the culture, the excitement of the NFL. Because I think the cast of characters we had growing up, we didn't get to see really behind the scenes and know their flaws and know what was going on in their lives. They seemed larger than life. And I'm talking people like Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, Mean Joe Green. List goes on, but I'm going to turn it over to you guys and tell me what you remember about the NFL growing up.
Well, I'm from the Pittsburgh area, and Pittsburgh is all about football. Everybody, and the Steel Curtain in the 70s was all the rage. So if you were anywhere, your dad had on football, and you were not allowed to disrupt football on. I don't even remember what day was it. Was there Monday Night Football then? I don't even.
So there was Sunday and there was Monday, and that was it. And NBC and CBS fought over the rights for who was going to carry the NFL, and ABC got Monday night, and that was it. Playoffs may be a little different, but there was none of this, Thursday night football. There was no this one's on Prime, this one's on Netflix, this one's on CBS, this one's on, it was one place to watch.
And I remember too when you were watching it, my husband actually now loves to go backwards and show me clips of like the absolute brutalness of, before some of the laws changed and the rules changed, the brutalness of some of the takedowns that, in particular, the Steelers being his number one team, that would happen on the field. The rules changed. I don't know. Do you remember the brutal takedowns?
Of course.
I mean, there's still ones now. Don't get me wrong, but it was like I'm trying to. Oh, my husband's going to yell at me because I can't think of his name right now. One of the Steelers from the 70s.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I grew up in Baltimore, big sports town, and especially with football with the Colts until we won't talk about the night that they rolled out in the middle of the night to never return again. So we hate the Colts now, everything about them. But that at that time, I remember, this is what I remember. I was just talking to my dad about old school NFL the other day because I had said, remember we went to a Baltimore-Detroit game. I was like 9 years old. It was freezing cold. Like your butt's stuck to the bleacher seats. And we sat in these bleachers behind the goalposts. There were legitimate like high school bleachers behind the goalposts. And I just remember watching the game and seeing some guy who was so drunk was throwing up at the corner of the end zones. There's some fan. I mean, that's how close you could get to the game for, $5 or $6. And I loved it.
Wirehead brings up so Bo Jackson, there are names that I can say, like today, there are still names. I mean, you've got Josh Allen, you've got Patrick Mahomes. I get it. These are names. These are big names in football. You've got Kelsey and all. It's not, I would argue, it's not the same as a Bo Jackson. Their crossover into pop culture was immense. Bo Knows was everywhere. Mm-hmm. You can go back even further when we were children, and Joe Namath and the Pantyhose, and the fact that Joe Namath appeared on the Brady Bunch show. They literally penetrated into everywhere. When Mean Joe Green threw that T-shirt on the Coca-Cola commercial, it wasn't just advertising Coca-Cola. He like entered into Americana. Mm-hmm. That's pop culture.
You missed my "That's What She Said."
Which one?
And you said they penetrated into every corner of the.
Oh, jeez.
Jack Lambert is who I was thinking of. I don't know why his name. My husband's going to kill me. Well, I couldn't think. Jack Lambert. just
Jack Ham, Jack Lambert.
yeah, Lance Vaughn,
Yeah, Donnie Shell.
Mhm.
Obviously Mean Joe Green.
Yep.
Franco Harris, Rocky Blyer, Lynn Swan, John Stallworth. I knew all the Steelers because the Colts and the Steelers were rivals
Mhm.
at the time.
Well, even when you didn't follow a team, Super Bowl shuffle in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chicago Bears became literal celebrities, and that team really lasted together that year. They were Super Bowl greatness for 1985, and then that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And yet I still remember, Singletary and Walter Payton and Jim McMahon. And I mean, I didn't follow the Bears, but they were celebrities.
Was it Refrigerator Perry?
Yeah.
Refrigerator Perry being
Perry. And listen, I wasn't a fan, and I wasn't even an NFL fan. And I knew who Refrigerator Perry was, as a young girl kind of thing. So, yeah.
It is interesting that it's different today. Like, I don't know that, there are obviously people that are out there like a Tom Brady, somebody who's doing a lot of commercial work, but it was different. I think maybe because there wasn't as much content being thrown at us. So there were just a few channels for us to watch. And if the commercials were pretty much the same, it was, what was the Miller Lite one? Tastes great, less filling.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always with football players, either older, like Butkus, I think was on there at one time. And then, of course, the Franco or the Mean Joe Green, Coca-Cola commercial. But they were icons. The commercials are still iconic to this day, and it is interesting that I don't know. I know they're out there now, but it doesn't feel like the same.
It doesn't feel like the same. And then we had things like the Bob Hope specials, and these football players would enter in for like segments of that. They literally went, I'm not going to say penetrated again. They made their way into pop culture. They went beyond sports. If I see Tom Brady in a car rental commercial, I think he does like Avis commercials or something. It's still Tom Brady, the football player. Oh, look, he's got an ad now. It doesn't feel the same. They felt like celebrities beyond their sports.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, one of the greatest 80s movies of all time had an Oakland Raider in it. The Goonies. John Matuzak played Sloth.
Oh, yeah.
And, he was on his way to having, I think, a pretty good acting career. Unfortunately, passed away too young, but.
Well, then we also look at that. It launched Brian's song. I saw somebody write many different.
Sorry,
what's that?
Bubba Smith. Somebody mentioned Police Academy.
Yeah, that's what it was. So it's not just I thought that it was different, but it's not. And what's funny is the NFL kind of came into existence right with us Gen Xers, because the AFL NFL thing started like way back in the early 90s and the early 20s. So it goes back to like 1920, but the NFL as we know it really only came into play in 1970 when the AFL and the NFL merged. That was 1970. So you could say that the NFL is a Generation Xer, because as it exists today, it came into being right along with us.
And forgive me for asking this question, and every NFL super fan out there is going to go, What number are we on? What is our Super Bowl number this year?
55, 56?
I was going to say 54. I don't know.
Okay, then it wasn't a bad question. It wasn't a bad question.
I'm boycotting it this year anyway.
Yeah, okay. I'm done too.
Someone in the audience is going to know what number we're on. I haven't listened to it. I haven't listened to the promos.
It's 50-something.
And I will.
It's literally our age.
That's what I was getting to. Was literally
so 55. It's going to be 55. Chris, you and I were both born in 70. We're going to be 55, so it's 55.
Yeah.
Cindy says it's 59. Okay, so I'm wrong. I don't know how that's possible, because the first one, but maybe they're counting pre. I don't know. But even
I don't know. I was just,
I also remember just as a kid,
59.
we talk a lot on this show about we talk about things that are nostalgic, and you're put back in that place, that living room or family room or whatever, and that dynamic was in your home. And I remember the dun 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 dun, and just that's because we didn't have it every single night. We didn't have it all the time. We didn't have the red zone and all the stuff that we have now. And it was so exciting just to hear that dun 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 dun. I knew I got to stay up late to watch Monday Night Football.
So the Super Bowl used to be the AFL versus the NFL and the Super Bowl World Championship because it was they weren't two different conferences. They were literally two different leagues. And then in 1970, they merged them. I just did the research. Cindy will be watching the Super Bowl. I'm well aware, my friend. Good luck to you. Enjoy it. Where I lived in Tampa. So to your point, Chris, that feeling for me didn't stop. So many things I can think of back to the 70s. The NFL kind of continued to reinvent itself in a way that my nostalgia even takes me back to the "Are you ready for some football?" Monday night jingle, which I'm like, oh, that was recent. It wasn't. I did the math. That's going back decades as well from when it first started. But it's like those moments are in my head. Howard Cosell, the names, the people that were like commenting on the games and stuff, all of it to me is like the height of pop culture. There's so many things we can talk about in the NFL.
Oh, there's a ton. And I looked it up too. Like, this is really, there was controversial, but remember when Dennis Miller was a Monday Night Football?
I thought he was awesome. I loved him.
I loved him as an announcer. It actually got me. I was like, well, he was kind of funny. He was very knowledgeable of the game, and I loved his fast-paced talking. And he helped, I think, some people who weren't exactly football fans, super fans. I think he helped some people to better understand the game a little bit, too, by really putting it into more of a layman term sometimes.
Well, not to invite controversy, we talk about JTR just talked about Alex Karras and the fact that he was in Porky's. He was also, I think, in Webster.
Yes.
He played the dad in Webster. And then, again, not to invite controversy, but O.J. Simpson came off the football field and everything else, I don't want to say aside, but at least back in the 70s and 80s, it's hard to look back without remembering him in the Hertz commercials or remembering him in the Police Academy movies. You know, that was then. And it was a big part of it. He just showed what you can do. It was a launching point. The NFL more so then than now. Because I can't think of a modern football celebrity that's made his way into movies and acting and things the way they used to be able to.
Was he in Airplane?
Peyton Manning, maybe. I mean, he's not in movies yet, but he's
commercials.
But he's very good. He's got.
He is, but it stays to the shtick. He's staying in the football realm.
Sure.
OJ penetrated.
I saw that one. I was looking over. I was like, I saw that one. But
somebody mentioned what was your favorite halftime show?
Oh, I got mine.
And
I know mine.
I
love this.
I think they all suck now, but for me, it was either U2 right after 9/11, where the streets have no name, when they had all of the names of the people that passed away. I was like, or it was Prince, In the Rain, like playing in the rain, did not care and was awesome.
My favorite one by far, because I remember watching it live, was the Janet Jackson boob debacle where he ripped off her. And I remember watching it live going, oh! And then the best part about it wasn't necessarily that. It was some of the meme commercials they made afterwards where they pretended like they, these dressing room people were, like trying to, like, they ripped the costume and they were trying to paste it back on with bubble gum and, calling it a malfunction and all these things. And I'm like, that was no malfunction. That was, so that controversy, I followed that one.
Though I think one of my favorites was Justin Timberlake, Mary J. Blige, Aerosmith, Britney Spears, they all came on. It was like people just kept coming. I think Nelly was in that one. You just had no idea, but like every 3 seconds, somebody else came on stage and took a portion of Walk This Way. And I just remember being really hyped. These weren't necessarily people whose albums I bought, but I'm like, that was really cool because I love mashups. I love when people show up where you don't expect them singing something you don't expect them to be singing. And there was just a ton of people that came on that year.
not too long ago when Rihanna was on, and then she was flying on that little that was about 4 years ago, and she was pregnant, and I was like, I'm gonna have a heart attack. Like, I don't know how high she actually was, but it looked like she was floating over top of the entire thing. Tom Petty.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, listen.
Thank you.
I'm going to call last call on the NFL. Somebody did mention the football pencils, which talk about unlocking a memory.
Right.
Completely have not thought about those in probably 40 years, but I do remember the school store selling football pencils.
Yes.
And I spent my nickels on that more times than I can remember. Thank you for that. I had completely forgotten that memory. I love it when I get to unlock a core memory like that. That was a big one for me. Anything else, guys?
No.
Well, let's go to the next one.
Great topic.
All right. I hate him. There's nothing I like about him, but we're going to move on to Pauly Shore. Never a fan of annoying comedy. This guy nailed it. I've made videos where people are like, oh, kids today with their skibbity toilet and their Sigma, and they have this language that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, dude, if you grew up Gen X, I don't want to hear you complaining about it, because we had Pauly Shore, and he was doing it 40 years ago.
The Weasel. Yeah.
Weasel.
Dude, he was, Encino Man? Come on.
That's the one I was thinking of. I was like, which one was there? A caveman? Yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
I like him because, first of all, I just like the silly comedy like Bobcat Goldthwait and Pauly Shore. Those types of people are just these weird characters on stage. But I've listened to him on some longer form podcasts. He's actually a really good dude.
I'm sure he is.
There was somebody recently, it was a model who's a little bit older now, and you okay?
Are you choking?
No, someone connected Beats, and it auto-connected to my computer.
Oh, we didn't hear it.
Oh, yeah.
No, I couldn't hear you because, like, all the sound went out because the headphones went, so, yeah. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Please, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
He's in long form podcasts, and there was a model that people were like, these people that like say stuff about these beautiful women or men online, and they're like, oh, and they're like 45, 50 years old now. And they're like, oh, they don't look the same. And they were like chiding her for like having a little bit of, not a belly, but a little bit of, didn't look the same. And Pauly Shore just said, hey, don't worry about it. And he like posted a picture of himself with his belly out and out of the ocean. And it just distracted from the entire thing where people were like ripping on this person for no reason. So for those reasons, I like him.
Everything I've ever heard about him. First of all, he's smart as hell.
Yeah.
He knew exactly the one thing the 80s did better than any decade in history, in my opinion, was creating personas. People knew exactly how to market themselves in a way to find their niche, and then they went at it without unapologetically. He created that persona and he stuck to it. What's the guy that was Iago in Aladdin? He had that voice. Played the parrot.
I don't know.
He was on USA Up All Night. Somebody help me in the comment section. You know who I mean. The world's most annoying voice. At any rate, he never wanted to be broadcast without that voice. And on the Howard Stern show, they actually caught him. They played a tape of him speaking normally, and he was pissed. Kiss never wanted to be seen without their makeup. Everybody had their thing, and they went at it 24/7. And Pauly Shore played that character 24/7.
Godfrey. Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
We still say that. My friends and I still say that. Yeah.
Where did he start? Where's the first place you saw Pauly Shore?
I think I saw him on a comedy special, like on HBO or something, I want to say.
Did he start on MTV for some reason? I'm trying to think where he first popped out. Not his mother.
That was my first instinct was MTV. But I cannot. I do not recall. I was not a fan. I mean, I'm not like, I can't say I love the man. I have not listened to extended podcasts of him, and I'm sure I would have a lot of respect for him had I done so. But I didn't like his character, and so I did not watch it. But also, someone else mentioned Gilbert Gottfried, and I did not like him either. He would be
That's who I was talking about.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
He
like
would be very funny on roasts, and on the Comedy Channel, and I would enjoy some of his roasts, but I couldn't stand his voice and his character, so he wasn't a funny person to me. I didn't like him.
I think if you ask a lot of people, they would say they didn't like him. They would say and yet he endured. To this day, you say Pauly Shore, we know exactly who he was. I'm sure his residuals are still paying him a really good paycheck. He's doing just fine and laughing all the way to the bank on it. I wonder how many of us watched more of him because he annoyed us. If he came, I've seen Son-in-Law, saw the whole damn thing. I saw Biodome, saw the whole damn thing. I saw the Caveman one, saw the whole damn thing. And yet, if you asked me if I liked them, I'd say no. So why the hell was I watching these? They were still funny.
They're just silly. They're not trying to be anything but silly. And I think that's what was endearing for him, for people who like him, is he wasn't trying to do anything but just be silly and goofy. And he learned from the best. I mean, his mom and dad owned the Comedy Store, and it's like one of the most famous comedy clubs in California.
I did not know that.
And Mitzi, his mom, when they got divorced, she's the one who ran the Comedy Store until she passed away. And I think he basically lived above the Comedy Store. So he was around these comedians all the time. And it's a pretty cool, that'd be a pretty cool life as a kid around all of those people that are Comedy Store. Because that time, the Comedy Store, everybody went through it. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, you name them, they were all going through the Comedy Store.
So he was
branding.
He was an MTV VJ starting in 1989. So I thought that's what was right. I just wanted to verify it. And of course, our online studio hosts absolutely verified it for us. So you think of all the other VJs that were out there at the time. They were either really educational in their authoritative voices. They knew a lot about music. They were professionals. Or later on, as things progressed, they were a little easier to look at. There were more eye candy. And then you got Pauly Shore. How? He deviates from any Kurt Loder. He was not. Mark Goodman. He was not. Downtown Julie Brown. Not the same mold. It's like, good for him. He broke through being completely different than everybody else they hired.
And somebody said he still actually runs the Comedy Store today since his mom passed away, which is actually pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Happy birthday, Jackie.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, some people just, even if they're not, they're not going to win any Academy Awards, or they're not going to win, you're not going to look back and say that was one of the greatest comedy concerts I've ever been to. Like when I saw Eddie Murphy Raw, I don't know that that'll ever be topped for me. Being able to see that live as an 18 or 19-year-old. But there are some people who they have whatever it is. And it's hard to explain why they just continue to be successful. But like I said, growing up around all those comedians, he did learn from the best. So he knew the tricks of the trade. He definitely knew how he has a stage presence for sure. To John's point, the 80s was great with people developing their own characters. And then those characters became a brand, and they got integrated into pop culture. And now even today, we use some of those sayings without even realizing. Like you say, hey, buddy. Like that's Pauly Shore, whether you like him or not. If you ever say that, that's where it came from.
I just think, and again, Wirehead put it perfectly. I just displayed it on the screen for all of us to see. He played the LA Valley boy. Now, a lot of us remember the Valley Girls. There were tons of examples of them. There was the Valley Girls song with Zappa, Moon Unit.
Oh, yeah, Moon Unit.
Yeah, Moon Unit Zappa. There's something I didn't think I'd be bringing up this podcast. There was the movie Valley Girls. And even in upstate rural New York where I grew up, Gag Me with the Spoon, Grody to the Max, it came out of girls' mouths. That's what she said. I got myself there. That's what she said. He did the boy version of that, and I don't know if that archetype existed in real life. There were real-life Valley Girls. I don't know if Pauly Shore was representing something that actually existed out there in L.A. Maybe it did. I've never seen it.
I think it probably did. I remember David Spade did an entire segment on the word dude and how many different ways it could be said. if you were a guy in the Valley. So, yeah, I bet you it existed for sure.
I guess Spicoli had a little bit of that too, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yahoo Serious? Did somebody just mention him? I can't.
Yeah.
It's been I forgot all about that dude. Oh my God.
I forgot about Dweezil and Moon Unit and Frank Zappa. I mean, just seeing those names, I'm like, Dweezil and Moon Unit Zappa. The 70s were fun. Pauly fighting in Iraq in the Army. Kevin, can you elaborate? Did he get drafted?
Oh, no, that was the movie. There was a movie he was in. It was.
I lost you, Chris.
Hello?
Yeah, I got you back.
Was he in a lot of movies? Like,
he was in a lot of movies. He had bit parts. He was the key player.
Something in that movie. It was. Oh man.
And Quark saying it absolutely was true. So it was out there. And that's what I like to remind ourselves of as we enter our middle-aged years. And yes, I know people are going to say we're not middle-aged because we're in our 50s, but I plan to live to be 140, so shut up. As we enter our middle-aged years, I don't want to be that generation that says, look at these stupid kids and the way they're talking. That's what kids do. It's okay. They'll make fun of it in their older years too. I'm totally cool with it. I don't mind it. I've got a 13-year-old. You know, when she comes home and does that stuff, I don't roll my eyes. I'm like, good. We did it too. Kids should have their own language. And it's fun to remember that we did too.
Yeah.
In the Army. I got it now.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm not sometimes mom, I'm bro.
Was it Pig?
Bro.
Bro or bruh?
Bruh.
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 Yeah, their bruh is our dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes I don't mind if it's not said disrespectful. I don't care. What do I care? It's your language, you know, or they say that's how it be. They're always telling me that's how it be. And I'm like, all right, that's how it be, I guess, you know, and then I go awesome. And then I show my own age.
Cap,
like totally awesome.
Cap and bet, right?
Bet.
Cap is done. They don't say cap anymore. Bet still makes its way back.
Yeah.
They hate it when I use their verbiage. You know, that's the fastest way to kill something. All right. I'm going to call last call on Pauly Shore.
I got nothing.
Going once.
All right. This is the one I got a lot to say because I think it's fun. I love when we have categories that are less specific to a person or a place or even a thing, and more specific to just stories we can all share. Birthday parties. Listen, I have kids. I've got a 13-year-old. I have a 21-year-old. We've had every kind of birthday party known to man. They're a big-ass deal for kids today. They're themed. They're ridiculous what parents spend money on for birthday parties. When we were growing up, for most of us, that wasn't necessarily the case. I remember for me, the gold star of a parent's love was a big McDonald's birthday party.
Absolutely. That's if you were lucky and rich. All right. I was trying to hurry up and search for a photo. It was in my favorites. Birthday parties as a kid were homemade games with old-fashioned wooden clothespins where you held it to your nose and you tried to get it down into the glass jar, and there were tiny little prizes.
The tail on the donkey.
Yeah, it was a homemade cake. I mean, Mom did the cake, and then you were lucky if she could somehow, use M&Ms or something to write your name out on the top of it. It was always a sheet cake, and it didn't do that. I do remember all your little friends. They would get an invitation, but it was more like, hey, you come into my birthday party, and everyone knew, and you made your rounds. You knew where everybody's birthday party was. There were a few times we got to do the McDonald's thing, or the Chuck E. Cheese was not really a thing so much.
And if he was scary as fuck.
Yes.
Chuck E. Cheese was not Chuck E. Cheese now.
Listen, look it up. Chuck E. Cheese, the original Chuck E. Cheese smoked, okay? So I'm just saying. Skating birthday parties. There wasn't all this hoopla, whatever pomp and circumstance about birthday parties. They were a big deal, but about the biggest decoration we had was that stuff that if you twisted it, the crepe paper twisty stuff.
Yeah.
That was about it. Maybe some balloons, maybe.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it was a birthday cake, and it was, ice cream cake for me. Like, it was exciting because my mom would go to Baskin Robbins and try to find a birthday cake with peanut butter ice cream in it, or peanut butter and chocolate ice creams. That was my favorite. And there were some candles on it, and some kids came over from the neighborhood, and I don't even know if there were even presents. Maybe sometimes there were cards, and that was it. And it was awesome because you just had your close friends there, and depending on how old you were, maybe, you played some games, but I don't know. It was like,
You mentioned close friends. Vicky in our studio audience mentioned you didn't have to invite the whole class. There's no sensitivity around it. It wasn't you didn't have to invite the whole class and you weren't allowed to talk about it. It was everybody knew when your party was and you knew if you weren't invited, and that's all there was to it. That's it. There was no sensitivity around it. I remember people coming up. I'd be in a group of 3 people, and somebody would come up and be like, you and you, I'm having a birthday party this Saturday. Make sure you guys can make it. And then walk away, and I'm like, huh. Okay. It's fine. I even remember a teacher, Miss Deal in 3rd grade, sitting at the front of the class saying, guys, for those of you invited, don't forget, Rochelle's parents asked me to remind you that the birthday party starts. For those of you invited, the teacher's basically announcing the fact that I was left out of the party. It was okay. And then we also were able to bring things into school. And if you were the Greek kid, I cannot tell you how many times I remember coming in with kadaifi or baklava or some other Greek pastry because my mom didn't know how to make a sheet cake. So the funniest part is by 4th grade, the teachers were waiting for me at the door with brownies. And they would take the baklava and they would hand me the brownies. And off the Greek pastry would go to the teacher's lounge.
Oh, that's hilarious.
True story. They were on to me. 3rd or 4th grade, they finally figured it out. But I'm telling you, if anyone had a peanut allergy, I wish you luck. Because the peanuts on top of the baklava were everywhere.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of sensitivity for any of that stuff.
There wasn't. The other thing I need to ask, Chris, I had a memory unlock myself. I was thinking about birthday parties. Now, my birthday party's in like the throes of winter. So there would be times in upstate New York when I would have a party and invite like 8 or 9 friends. My mom would not allow a huge list. And that meant that when the snow was flying, maybe one would show up, and it'd be the one I didn't really want there. But no matter who showed up, if a boy got you a gift, in my experience back then, it was almost always a model car. I don't know if it was just a thing where I never made models. I've never completed one. I got so many boxes of model cars for my birthday from other guys. Just me.
I don't even remember what I got for my birthday, if I even got anything from friends in my neighborhood.
Really? That came to your party?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they brought like a card or something, but it just wasn't like I don't know. I don't recall like getting gifts at my birthday parties, but I could be wrong. It was a long time ago. So
it occurred. I'm like, it was just strange. That was the gift though. Like they didn't know what else to. Oh, Cindy says mine too, meaning I would assume not the models, but probably the fact that nobody came to your party.
And Thomas mentioned allergies were not the big deal they are now, but I would argue that back then it was like, here's the cake, eat it. Today you'd be like, okay, well, my son has blah, 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 and my daughter is vegan. And, so if they're going to come over, then you're going to have a vegan thing for this person and a certain cake for that. And I'm like, back then it was like, here's your sheet cake.
That's right. Eat it or don't.
Dude, but it was so awkward. Even the parties. I mean, we had social training. Not only the play date had not been invented when we were kids. We wanted to go play. We figured it out. Birthdays were very much the same way. Yeah, our mom would throw the party, so to speak. But unless it was that one mom that was completely and totally over involved in her kids' lives, for the most part, we were thrown in the basement. We were downstairs. We were left to our own devices, and that's where it was like the social training of how to interact with other kids. I was awkward. I remember like practicing conversations before going to the party, coming up with a list of things I was going to talk about. It never, like, especially if it was a party I was shocked to be invited to. I'm like, seriously, I got an invite? It was a big deal.
I didn't like being invited to the ones that I didn't want to be invited to. And then you felt obligated to go. There were some of them where you're like, oh, if I don't go, it's social, social suicide kind of a thing. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to go to this, but I kind of have to. So I get what you're saying. There were a few of them that I went to where I was like, oh.
Did you have sleepovers? That was the other awkward thing. Now I've brought this up on my page a couple times, and the thing that girls say is the only thing almost more awkward than not getting an invite is getting the partial invite. Because at some age, girls' birthday parties turned into sleepovers. But maybe 9 girls were invited to the party, but at some point 4 got to sleep over. So like the 5 had to quietly exit the room. Quietly and oftentimes unceremoniously be evicted from the party.
You and you.
Those of you not invited to spend the night, give your parents a call. Let them know it's time to go.
And boys were just
Am I wrong?
Boys were just like, is anybody staying over? And
yeah,
if you are, we're gonna make it when we were younger, like let's just make a big blanket fort, and we'll pretend like we're in some other place than the house. Pretty cool.
Oh my God, so Shell, did you have a sleepover birthday party?
No, I don't ever recall having one at my house. I've been to
Really?
them. I did not have them at my house. I don't know that my parents would have been into like entertaining a whole bunch of girls, all that. I'll be honest with you, that it's a difficult task to do.
So did you spend the night at someone's house? Did you have friends?
I had lots of friends. I don't think our house was, my mom didn't want people at our house kind of thing. It was more like, and it was just not a thing for me. We had a party, but there was no overnight stuff. It was just, I don't know.
That's bizarre.
No, I went to them.
So you had to sleep over at somebody else's house?
Yeah, there was no problem there. But I just never had one at my house.
I wasn't really allowed sleepovers. My mom did not like me to go to someone's house. She never could understand it. Play, stay, and then come home to bed. She didn't understand the concept of having to sleep there. And she's like, your friends can come here. I'm like, Mom, it's their birthday. They're not coming to my house to sleep over on their birthday. Why not? I'll make baklava. I mean, the woman she just didn't want me sleeping there.
And I also think, John, I lived in a very, very small town with the whole small town atmosphere. And you were allowed to stay up until 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night in the summertime. And you could stay at someone's house until that time. And again, you walked home by the streetlights and that was okay. So there was no need to stay overnight.
And that was my mother's point. My mother echoes your point. She's like, stay as long as you want.
Right.
And then just come home.
Right. Because if you had a friend over, their mom had to come from 45 minutes away. So why bother? So yeah.
Do you remember a favorite birthday party? Mine have got cold, and it was the only time I ever had a birthday outside of my house. My mom agreed to allow for 5 of my friends to drive 30 minutes to the Finger Lakes Mall in Auburn, and we did a timeout birthday at the arcade. And they would give your friends quarters to play with to start, and they gave a certain kind of I guess what a Chuck E. Cheese party would be today. But we ate at Gino and Joe's, which was the pizza place at the food court. Then we went in and played at the arcade. And then my mom goes, 3 of your friends can stay and I'll pay for you to go to the movies. And I had to tell the other 2 to get lost.
Yeah.
Or pay their own way into the theater.
That was my favorite as well. Mine was an arcade, but at our mall it was called the Space Station, and they did the same thing. Like you would come and you had a certain amount of quarters each kid would get, and then we went to the food court, ate pizza. Same.
Dude, it felt so cool. It was, and the fact that my mom was there was an exclusivity to it because I only had a few people go, so it was talked about the next day, and it wasn't like Chuck E. Cheese where you'd get prizes. We played video games just to play.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. Get our 3 in ASS on the screen. That was enough. Shell, favorite birthday party?
They all sort of blended together for me. They all were, I have a summer birthday. So it was every day was kind of the same, and only this one had cake. It was the same friends that were always there with you, So I don't really recall one being super more special than any other. I remember other holidays, things like Halloween's and things being a little bit more having a favorite one. But birthday, no, I had a great summer birthday, and all summer. Like we just did stuff all summer.
The only other thing I'll say that I remember being prominent in birthdays is there'd be the few kids who on their birthday just turned into total douchebags. Like it was their party. I want to do this. It's my birthday. Nope, we're going to do this because it's my birthday. I want to play this game. It's my birthday. I mean, those kids. And almost always it was girls. Guys didn't care.
I never did that.
I could tell.
I never did that. I'd be like, whatever.
Chris, you had a party at a roller rink, you said, correct?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think I had a party at a roller rink, but
No?
I used to go there hoping for a couple skate.
Cindy said her favorite birthday party was her 40th. I was going to say something like that too. Like something older, even, I don't know.
I stopped having them. I don't like the idea of a birthday party. I threatened my wife with all kinds of penalties should she ever bring it into her mind. Like my 50th, she threatened it. She's like, I thought about giving you a surprise birthday party. I'm like, I will turn around and leave. I do not do it. Do not do it. I don't like parties. Here's a memory I think everybody will get, and we can try to end it on this. Being sung to was the most uncomfortable 3 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
If not at the party, then at school when they would do it. And you just sit there. And I remember in my earliest memories not being sure if I should sing along.
Should I sing with it or do I?
What's the protocol here? It just is so uncomfortable, especially when it was a class. There's not like there's a cake that's some kind of physical buffer between you and the singers. They're all just begrudgingly turning around, looking at you and singing. So uncomfortable.
And some people don't know your name, so like, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Like, oh God.
And then there were you live in a zoo.
Oh, happy birthday to you.
You look like a monkey.
And you smell like one too.
You look like one too. Or yeah.
And then finally, for me, if you've ever been a server, the word trying to corral other servers when you need birthday singers is the worst. You've hit a low point in your life when you're 22 years old and have to be corralled tableside to sing happy birthday to some 90-year-old that doesn't even know they're sitting there. That's it. I need a career change. Something has to give.
I worked at Olive Garden at one point, and I can remember doing them, and then I think they had a special song at Olive Garden.
They always did.
Yeah, if I recalled it, and that was so many years ago. But they had a special song, and then there was like a routine, like you were like your own little personal cheerleader, and oh my Lord.
When I was working as a bouncer at Howl at the Moon, which was and they used to say, like, when it was a birthday, we had to the bouncer had to get up on the piano and sing to these people. And I'm like, how the hell are we supposed to throw anybody out after you just sang happy birthday? We look like idiots up here. And now you're expecting us to go back down and have to solve a problem that inevitably is going to happen around midnight or so.
If you've never been a server, you don't know what we give, the soul-breaking deals we make behind the scenes to get other servers to show up and sing to you. Yeah. And the fact that it's not even happy birthday sometime. I remember one of them was, I don't know, but I've been told Rochelle here is getting old sound. I mean, just no. So don't do it. Don't do it. If you're there at the restaurant, someone's like, oh, let's get them to sing. No, don't. You don't. It sucks. No one wants to be wearing a name tag, 14 pieces of flair, and singing happy birthday to you in a restaurant. Just.
Hey, John, go back up to Blackburn. I think whoever Blackburn is went to a school that was very different than mine.
No, not different than mine. I remember this. We had the tunnel.
I don't remember that at all.
We had birthday spanking, so we would spread our legs. That's what she said. And like while we were standing, and the birthday boy or birthday girl would go through our legs, and as they went, you'd whack them on the ass. That was a thing. I don't know if that's how we had the birthday tunnel. The birthday spanking was a birthday tradition growing up at school? Shell? Come on, you had all you threw peanut rolls
of all the backward shit that I've told you about so many things, that was definitely the first time I've ever heard of that in my entire life.
Seriously?
Definitely the first time.
I'd forgotten it. That is absolutely a memory. And it was the birthday tunnel. Like, we would make a tunnel and they would literally go between our legs and we would smack them on the ass.
Nope.
Different times, dude, but maybe Thomas says yes.
You guys sound like you had Joey's Taylor.
Oh, Stacy. Hey, Stacy.
You guys sound like you had Joey's Taylor from Friends.
I know what it sounds like, and we did it probably far longer than we should have. 5th grade. It ended in elementary school, but it was a thing all the way through elementary school. Did you pay more money for that, says Scott?
Spanking tunnel.
Bend over and prepare to receive birthday aggressions. Hooters was the best birthday.
Spanking machine. I can't believe this is a thing.
I've never
heard of this either.
Remembers. Joseph remembers.
I don't know. That didn't happen in Baltimore.
Spanking machine. Spanking tunnel. Yeah, it's a thing. I'm going to make a video on this. I'd forgotten this memory for good reason, probably. Mr. Stevens always was a little overly aggressive, if I remember correctly. He's dead now. We can talk about it.
That video might get flagged.
Blackburn says the teacher did soft paddling for your birthday. Well, there's Mr. Stevens for you.
Wow.
Hey, Life. Well, it's good to see you, man. See, Life just joined us. All right, guys. We are pretty much on time today. So I'm going to call last call for birthday parties. That was awesome. I enjoyed that part a lot. Nothing?
Is it your birthday?
I think
your birthday coming up soon, or wasn't it just?
It is.
Yeah.
I think we covered from sheet cake to spankings. I think we covered the entire birthday.
All right. So today we've covered the NFL. We've covered Pauly Shore. And we've talked about birthday parties and what they looked like growing up and what they looked like in our 40s and birthday party spankings that may or may not have been more than a little inappropriate. But that kind of defines our lives in general. So let's just leave it there. Any ideas, whether in-house or out-house, in our studio audience or virtually live, what the hidden connection, what or whom the hidden connection is?
Me having absolutely very little knowledge of Pauly Shore makes it so that I'm out. Like, okay. I cannot think of any connection whatsoever other than, having themes for your birthday party, NFL themes for the boys would be the only thing. And Pauly Shore certainly doesn't fit into that. So I'm out. I got nothing.
Okay. Chris?
I mean, there's only two connections that I can come up with, but I don't know how to connect the birthday party, but it was either Sam Kinison or that was the one I had. That was it. Because Sam Kinison kind of mentored Pauly Shore. He was in an NFL commercial at some point, I believe. I just don't, and maybe he did a skit about birthday parties. That's all I can think of.
I definitely had fun putting this one together. I very, very intentional and kind of knew y'all might not get it, but every now and then I just like to do things that I don't think people will get in order to bring in three fun topics and then to kind of personalize our episodes a little bit more. I did mention certain things throughout the episode that I thought might be clues. For instance, the NFL, although it goes back to 1920, it completed its merger on February 1st of 1970. Pauly Shore is a Gen Xer. He's one of our oldest Generation Xers. And Pauly Shore was born on February 1st, 1968. And his birthday is tomorrow.
Your birthday is tomorrow.
And my birthday is tomorrow.
I was close though. Okay, I'm taking a shadow point for that one because I bothered to ask. I said, "Is it your birthday coming up?" I'm taking a little half a point.
So yeah, I decided to turn our show into my birthday party a day early. February 1st is the connection, the day that the NFL merger was completed, the day Pauly Shore was born, and the day I had my first birthday party.
So it's Johnmas tomorrow.
It's Johnmas. The connection is me.
Wait. Chris, didn't he say he was extremely uncomfortable when people sing him happy birthday?
I was extremely uncomfortable singing.
I knew I was safe. Chris is not going to sing. So yeah, Pauly Shore, me, and the NFL officially have the same birthday. And it was not easy. There's not many people that share a birthday with me. I don't know what it is upon my date of conception. Whatever date parents had to do what it is they had to do to have a kid born in February, not many of them were doing it. If you look up February birthdays, it's me, Pauly Shore, and Harry Styles. I'm like, how do I get Harry Styles?
Quirk said, okay, it's time for the tunnel.
Cork, what makes you think I'm going to say no? Dude, I'm going to be 55. I'll take that as a birthday treat. The record out says, happy birthday, buddy.
Nice.
Oh, man. It's fun. I don't feel old. I'm going to be 55 years old tomorrow. I don't feel old. If there's a connection, I said it, the NFL is still doing things, changing itself, evolving. It's become, Pauly Shore has found a way to stay. You might hate him or you can love him. He's still around. He's still doing podcasts. He's still doing it. I think we are still pertinent. We're still here. We're still reinventing ourselves. We're still changing ourselves. We're still blowing out that birthday candle and making a wish for the following year saying, you know what? I want this. I want that. I have never felt younger, more fortunate, more excited about the new year, about achieving things. I've made friends like you two in the past year. There's no part of me that feels old tomorrow or today or whatever 55 is supposed to feel like.
When I'm going to be 52 this year, in June. And when I remember turning 50, I thought it was going to be like, oh, I feel this now. And, surprisingly, I didn't. I think I felt worse sometimes in my 30s than I did in my 50s. I felt renewed at 50. And we do still look hot. That's right.
Damn straight.
All of us.
I'm officially older than Mr. Roper. I'm older than Mr. Furley. I'm older than Mr. Cunningham was on Happy Days. I'm older than Archie Bunker was. I don't care. I don't feel like any of them. Mm-hmm. I'm younger than Paul Rudd, and the guy's got to be a vampire because he still looks 30. So I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm the same way at 54. I will tell you, though, that all of the injuries I had when I was younger, I definitely start to feel those. Beyond that, I don't feel it. I think my brain and my heart still feel like I'm 20. My body reminds me here and there that I'm not. But
here and there.
Yeah.
Dude, you're in great shape. You still hit the gym. You are still as fit. I'm sorry. I'm going to argue with you a little. I think what we forget as we enter our 50s is that our bodies always hurt. We have this myth in our minds that it didn't used to hurt at 20. Listen, when I did sports, when I did things in my 20s, when I helped a friend move, I was sore the next day. I don't necessarily buy into that. And I fell into that trap believing I'm older than Wilford Brimley. Well aware of that. I love it. And I couldn't have thought of a better way to try to bring it all together. A little what's the word I'm looking for? Indulgent. I hope you guys had fun with this one. Don't ever make this gesture across from me.
Squish your head. Squish your head.
Squish your head. It's in the hall. Thurston Howell III is another one. Yes, he was 51. God. The first episode of Gilligan's Island, he was only 51 years old. Lovey was much older than him.
The professor. Marianne.
I grew up in plaster and stitches. And that's the other thing. Richard puts the point. Gen X is turning 60 this year. Yeah. Those born, the oldest of us are turning 60 this year. That's That's hard to wrap my brain around.
Yeah.
60. Yeah. 50 didn't bother me. I'm not saying 60 will, but 60 has a different feel to it today. Maybe when we get there, it won't. Maybe it would have said the same thing of 50 when I was 40, but for some reason, 60 feels like,
David, your birthday is definitely much better. We're all happy for you, and we're going to say like that. That's how you self-congratulate yourself on your birthday. Well done.
We're still here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We are. And
yeah, the Royal Rumble's tomorrow too.
What's that?
The WWE. I think it's WWE Royal Rumble. I think that's tomorrow. Yeah.
Don't watch any of it. But
so that's the show for today, guys. Literally at the 1 hour mark. I will give each of us a time. Chris, what's going on in your world? Where are you going to be? Is there anything going up? People can see you, find you, talk about your book. What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? No cap,
buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be in Tampa next week, and then I've got trips coming up to Baltimore, to Destin, Florida, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm missing a few. So, Indianapolis, or no, Fort Wayne. Sorry, Fort Wayne. So I'm going to be in a lot of places all over the next 4 or 5 months. And
for those interested in the stuff you write about, where can we find your book?
On Amazon, you can find all 3 of my books. The most recent one is Raised on the 80s, but if you just type in Chris Clues, CLEWS, on Amazon, you'll find my books there. And I'm going to be starring in a short feature film that's filming in March. So I'll keep you guys posted when that one starts hitting the festival circuit.
Full frontal nudity?
No. Who wants to see that?
Shell,
what's going on with you?
I don't have much going on at the moment. I don't know. Taking a little bit of a break, a little step back from social media and other things. I've been working behind the scenes a lot. If anybody here doesn't know it, our podcast, our show here, I should call it, not a podcast. Our show here is going to go on the road soon. And so I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes for us to be able to put together a Generation X or Xennial, or hey, if you're a boomer and you love us, I don't care. Someone that wants to come and see our show, we're putting together lots of material for it. So stay tuned on that. But that is one of the things that I'm working on. No travel plans till summer, but look for us all in the fall.
Quirky. Well done. For my part, I will be heading to Orlando on February 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. I will be at the MegaCon convention, the 6th, 7th, and 9th. The 8th, the Friday, I'll be there a little bit, but we are also doing a tour of Universal Park on that Friday. So I'll be going all over Universal Studios on the 9th. So if you guys are anywhere near the Orlando area, check out MegaCon. I'll be going live and posting so people will know where I am. And Friday, we will actually be at Universal Studios itself proper. So look for me there. All I got, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Bobby Vitten's still alive? Isn't he like 120?
Well, you said you're going to live to be 140, so.
I will. There's no doubt there. Hopefully this does not age badly. Do you remember the hard frosting letters and decorations on birthday cakes? Zarena, I'll give you the last word, and I absolutely do. Guys, thank you so much. Stay tuned for us coming back. I don't think we're off next Friday.
Yeah, we're going to be off next Friday. 2 of us are going to be out of town.
But we will be returning the Friday thereafter, 5:30 p.m. right on this channel. Look for us. Check out past live episodes. You will be able to see it. And when we come back for our Valentine's Day episode, it will be Chris Clues.
And I'm Valentine's Day for me. This is going to be interesting. So that's all I'm going to say.
All right, guys. Yeah. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Yeah.
Stay rad, everybody.